We're here. Welcome to the eighth night of Hanukkah, a night that I reserved for out of all of the eight Jewish values that Sarah Hurwitz has detailed for us is the one I feel is most important to me and also most important to our space of lace on race. They've been amazing, each and every one of them. And again, this time when I imagine all of you in my living room together with me, I get to think about all of them every day as I'm doing even mundane tasks. And it makes the mundane extraordinary. So does the central virtue that Sarah Hurwitz is going to walk with us today. It's Hesed. I can't believe it was in the essay. Hesed, I saw it and I almost died. You guys know how I feel about the concept of Chesed and how I try to inculcate that with everything I do, with everything I write, with all of the relationships that I cultivate. Let's look at Sarah's words before I get too excited. Then I'll never be able to do it. But hold on, I'm going to bring myself back to baseline and be nothing more than a mouthpiece for Sarah Hurwitz. She says, translated as loving kindness, Chesed isn't just an emotion, it's a kind of action we take to help those who are physically or emotionally in need. And it generally involves more than simply writing a check or sending flowers. It's often about showing up for people when they're suffering and offering what chaplains refer to as the ministry of presence. When others are at their most vulnerable, when they're sick, in mourning, or otherwise struggling, Judaism doesn't tell us awkwardly avoid them because they make you uncomfortable and maybe just send an email. No, we are told show up for them and do whatever you can to make them feel loved. From the wonderful 8 Nights, 8 Jewish Values, Reflections for Hanukkah on the Jewish Obligation to Build a Better World by Sarah Hurwitz. And may I just say, Ms. Hurwitz, thank you so much for allowing us this essay and for allowing us to riff off of it so that we can see its truths and peel the onions and the layers of what you tell us. We hope we have served you well and that we've listened well and that we are going to take your words and be a fragrance throughout the world for them. Thank you again. You know, this last night is where absolutely everything just ties together. All of the lessons of Sarah's folded together in the absolute cornerstone of the foundation of Lace on Race. Ms. Hurwitz spoke to Chesed on third night, but because it is oh so very important, I actually pulled it out and reserved it for the last night. I hope you don't mind, Miss Hurwitz. To me, Hesed is just that important. Again, I want to be sure to stress that I hold no disagreement with Sarah. Quite the contrary. Her focus on those in need is foundational. But, as is how we do here in Lace on Race, I also want to look a bit deeper at just who it is who is physically or emotionally in need. It's all of us. All of us have buckets of slosh, some dumped into our buckets by the world, some of it self-administered and hoarded. None of us are easy to love in the hallmark kind of treacly and easy to swallow way. It is not fair, but often when we are at our worst places, as Miss Hurwitz would say, when we're sick, in mourning, or otherwise struggling, that is when the world so often sees us as the most unlovable. I've seen this in my life a lot. When my husband got sick in 2003, when he attempted suicide again in 2017, I lost most of my friends, and they haven't come back. But I gained friends too, who knew what the word Hesed means, even if it had never escaped their lips. When we are inwardly or outwardly howling and acting out and forgetting all of the skills and virtues we have ever learned, it is so easy, all too easy, to declare the one in pain irredeemable. But no, no. Hesed is loving kindness, yes. But to my mind, and to how we use it here at Lace on Race, it is so much more. In our communal orchard, Hesed is long acting, loyal, resilient, reliable, muscular, kind, faithful, unilateral, active, a verb. That's how you love the unlovable, even when you think the unlovable is yourself. So yeah. Loving kindness. Yes, yes. But with our signature seasoning of relentlessness. For us, as we learn Hesed for ourselves, for our community, for the other, Hesed is first and last. It is a love that wears overalls and work boots. A love not afraid to get dirty and messy in the orchard. A love that spreads good compost. Hesed is a love that endures. When I think of some other core values of Lace on Race, the two that spring to mind are accountability, natch, absolutely, of course, why did I even have to say it? But yes, accountability, and our signature sauce, kind candor, with a kind of muscular, red-blooded love we're talking about here, as well as the level and depth of love I am inviting and exhorting you to enter into and to live out. Accountability is a non-negotiable. There is no way we can do this work alone or without someone walking beside us as a co-guide. We need to learn to both give and accept kind candor. We must learn how to course correct eye to eye. We must learn how to do the work of repair, and we must always remember why we chose to embark upon this journey. We must always remember our North Star, which is the embodiment of Hesed, to lessen and mitigate the harm endured by Black and brown people, perpetuated by white people and white supremacy. And there is no way you can live out our core foundational missional statement without Hesed. Earlier this year, I wrote in an essay something about the concept of saying yes first. Dry mouth. Of saying yes first. This holds here. And I think it holds for every significant relationship we have. Oh, and never forget, every relationship, if we allow it, holds significance. Saying yes first. Not until, not unless, not only if. The world would have us always with one hand, with fingers crossed behind our backs when we make promises and commitments to each other. I challenge that, and I challenge you to challenge that. Opting in is a yes, one that cannot be coerced or pressured into, but a yes freely given. Hesed is embedded in that yes. And it would behoove us to remember those bullet points every time we enter this space, as we remember just who it is we are choosing to walk and abide with and beside and for. This Hesed infuses our 5 tenets of leaning in, planting roots, growing up, and in, so we can grow out. The tenets, like Hesed, the tenets are tenacious. When I see Hesed in the other's eyes, I know that I have found one of my people. Sue Johnson, another author we're going to be diving deeply into in 2021, and I can't wait. Oh, wait, stop. Let's try this again. Sue Johnson, another author we will be diving into in 2021, says the central query for individuals and dyadic relationships, and we're going to adapt it for groups. The central query is, will you be there for me when I need you? Rarely will that utterance be said aloud, nor is it likely to be said that baldly, but it will be said. One of the reasons we here at Lace on Race hit so hard, just hammer at it, the reason we hit so hard on the kind of love that goes the distance and that can be depended upon and trusted in, resilience, reliability, and relentlessness, is that dominant culture is pretty shaky when it comes to these virtues. Which is to say, it's shaky on Hesed. To become 10,000 people for whom it is safe for all others to rest their tired feet when they are sore requires heaping helpings of Hesed. And so I wish for you, and you, and you, even you, Julie. And so I wish for all of us to make, to share, and to receive. I offer you my arms, my back, my heart, and my gut. I humbly ask the same of you and for you. To Hesed. And the flames flicker out on the 8th day. Thank you for walking with me during this Hanukkah series.